Welcome everyone, Adam the Woo here. This is toasty. I have procured a piping hot caffeinated beverage, which they do not put the cardboard around. Well, over here from Cornerstone Cafe is where I got the coffee today. Do not put the cardboard wrapping around it. The cardboard wrapping is part of the cup itself. You might be wondering why I'm wearing a collared shirt, long sleeve, even though it's rolled up, because the humidity of Central Florida is slightly intense. Even though it is just spring, it's not even summer yet, you can start to feel the warmth. I have a 1 p.m. jury duty summons that I must attend for Osceola County. Gonna head to this county's courthouse, even though Orange County is just a very short distance, just right around the corner. I'm right on the cusp, so I'm gonna go into downtown Kissimmee and just kind of give you a step-by-step of my day. You should probably see how many miles that is. I'm inviting you to join me. Yeah, that's hot. That's warm. Warm. Kind of hot in these rhinos. Shall you? All right, it's looking like 11 miles. 27 minutes, 11 miles. I think most of that is just getting out of Celebration. Some refer to it as the bubble. It's kind of tucked away in here. But once I get out into the main thoroughfares, it moves a lot quicker. You are summoned to appear to jury service at the date, time, and location shown on the reverse side. Failure to comply as directed can result in a fine and/or contempt of court. Chapter 40 of the Florida statute says, please park off of West Bryan Street in the parking garage. All right, heading over. Speaking of juries, the jury's still out on whether or not there really is water up in that tower or not. Some say no. Yep, it's true, Big the Foot. I've never served on one before. Oh, you have? Oh, involving someone named Patterson that filmed you without your permission? Going down 192, passing by that empty lot there, used to be Xanadu Home of the Future back in the day. Now it's gone. In case you were wondering, that's not a real tree. It's a cell phone tower. That's a pirate ship over there. Passing a pirate ship. Former Pizza Hut alert. Former Pizza Hut alert. Turned off of Highway 192 onto Orange Blossom Trail, also known as Main Street. Going right downtown Kissimmee. Downtown Kissimmee. We've opened safely. Free parking, I believe that's what that's supposed to say. I think the wind has kind of scattered the letters around. This is not the parking structure they suggested to park at. It's about a block away. But I find this one a little more kind of quaint here in this area. And speaking of opening, I'm gonna open this umbrella. Let's get out of the shade and over into the sun. As I walk over to the courthouse, I've showed this before in the past, but always worth a revisit. Rita's General Store. This mural's been here for many, many years. Angela's Fine Apparel. Oh, looking very dapper, sir. Going through here. Oh, look at that. That's a nice little hat right there. This kind of reminds me, it looks like Chevy Chase, circa 1983 to 85. Just an estimated time frame of that. It is not modeled after Clark Griswold, however. Yeah, this is the Toho Square parking lot, about a block or so from the one that was on the paper. It said I could park out. I'm just taking a little stroll. Got some time. Can cut through here. This building burned down a decade ago or so. And then recently, they put a mural of an owl right over here on this wall. Rather fantastic. And another mural on this wall. It's like a robotic cowboy and horse. Almost kind of steampunkish in a way. Look down here, you can see the former foundation, the tile work of what once was. Back in the early 90s, I would say 1991, when I first started driving an automobile, got my license, 17-year-old me, this Illusions establishment was, what was it? It was a pawn shop. Or maybe this was the pawn shop. This is going back 30 years ago now. And right up here is the parking structure that they recommended to park out. Corner of Emmett and Orlando. Fascinating. This is Emmett Street. Also turns into Highway 192, does not turn into this. You turn off of Highway 192, which eventually becomes Emmett, also Main Street, also Orange Blossom Trail, and also Broadway. If you look back down this way, you will see street signs, historic downtown, saying Broadway, and also Orange Blossom Trail, and also Emmett. It's very confusing. That's a bed and breakfast, or at least it used to be. Don't know if I've ever seen gates without any partitions on either side. There's nothing on either side stopping anyone from walking around. Usually there will be like a concrete pillars on either side. That might be a first that I've ever seen something like that. Almost to the courthouse. Can always tell when you start seeing the attorneys' signs. When there's a courthouse, there will be attorneys nearby in the general vicinity that you can hire. One courthouse square. The new courthouse would be just around this building, which is where it's supposed to report to. The original courthouse still remains. That is right over here. I'm gonna take a look. Showcase off this for a moment. The original Osceola County Courthouse still stands. Over there is the newer one where all the proceedings take place. And the Osceola County Administration's office is right here. This is relatively new. As stated earlier, I have not ever been called to a jury. Now, I have gotten many a summons. Probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8 over my lifetime. Only one time, maybe twice, let's say twice. One that I am certain of, twice. I have slept since then, so I've forgotten, but there was another time that I was released earlier in the day, and then one time that was a lengthy day that I sat in this very courthouse till about 4 or 5 p.m. and they said, you can go. So I did. I've never been inside a courtroom on a jury or in a courtroom being tried for anything like that. Now, I have been in, museums that are courtrooms, or been in small town courtrooms that let you in just to film videos and whatnot. Which brings me to another point. Didn't really know how to go about this episode. Kind of put out the feelers a little bit, and just discussing it with others, came to the conclusion that you can mention that you do get a summons. You don't want to show all the specifics. That's why I kind of marked them out on the piece of paper. But you can talk about it. You just cannot talk about the specifics. And once the judge, if you're called, any information, any specifics or any kind of details he gives you, you have to abide by. But doing this and just mentioning it, that's fine. I also want to point out how the legal system and how due process and all that works a lot differently than it did 100 years ago. Because in this very spot, I have to match it up, but I believe it's in this very spot 100 years ago was the last public trying and punishment for someone who was convicted, and they were, I want to say, they were not only sentenced, but an event took place right here. And there are some interviews, there are some writings, there are some newspaper transcripts of locals in the area who, at some of the homes, witnessed this happening right here next to the staircase. His name was Eddie Broom. January of 1912 was when this took place. And there's yet another one there. You see the windows here and the drainage pipe that is there, the water pipe. Those windows are still there. Now, the camera was placed up on the staircase, and they built the device to provide the punishment on this side of the staircase. So the photographer would have been up on probably an older version of that staircase. It's probably been redone and re-bricked, but facing towards me. And this water pipe would have been more over there. But in the photograph, those two windows, I'll walk around and show how the angle was. And that was the last time that happened here in Kissimmee, Florida, at the courthouse. That sort of punishment. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna walk up here. Eddie Broom, 1912, right about here would be that angle. There you go, a little history right here. Osceola County Courthouse history. Yeah, it's come a long way since, you know, the public was invited to look in on stuff like this. 109 years ago? Is my math right on that? All right. Going back down the stairs and over to the new courthouse. There's some birds chirping out here. It is a beautiful day. When I think about films that depict the legal process, when it comes to classics, I always think of 12 Angry Men, one of my favorites, and To Kill a Mockingbird, a true classic. Yeah, there are some newer ones. You can't handle the truth. Which, strike that from your memory, that the whole Jack Nicholson impression I just did was a complete failure. Now, behind me over here is the entrance. Now, they do have some different procedures and regulations, moderately different than in the past. Obviously, as is required, I have this, which you go through, and you have to go through the metal detector. There's quite a bit of a line. Looks like they're only letting a certain amount of people in very slowly, you know, searching, making sure that everything is good to go. Now, here is, well, I don't want to call it a conundrum. I could get excited about this, but I honestly would have liked to see how jury duty takes place, how it happens. You can either go on the website or call a phone number. I just chose to go on the website. Still had about another hour before it was time for me to check in. And because I did that, I had a higher number. I guess maybe there's 1 through 1,000. I had the upper number of that, which some would say is easier to be excused during. Don't know the whole details of that. Maybe it's because too many people already showed up, or maybe the case that I could have been on has been postponed or canceled. Nonetheless, I am done with my jury duty. Completed without even stepping foot inside of there. I don't know how to feel about that because I kind of wanted to do it. I've never done it. Now, I am no expert on the way the system works, but I've heard that it's just about every year. So in a year from now, I could get another one of these papers and have my chance to do this. Or maybe the type of job description I have, they might not be into that. I'd probably get dismissed anyway. But a year from now, maybe, don't quote me on any of this. All I know is as of today, I will not be going inside this courthouse and getting called for jury duty. If I would have, there would have been this, you know, public, very windy, the health message here that everything is abided by. There are all the instructions. If you do not have internet access, boy, it is very windy. You get the idea. You kind of get the idea. Oh, there are also reasons for excusal or deferment, which are posted here. I didn't even try to get out of it. I was kind of wanting to do it in a way. I don't know if I want to serve on a long trial, but I would like to at least get called and then dismissed. That's never even happened. I've just sat in the waiting room before, years ago, but never. Oh, there's also some juror compensation. I remember Pauly Shore teaching me a little bit about that back in the day. One of those movies. Speaking of movies, I guess I forgot to mention that along with the two classics. All right, that's done. Did it. Did it, Osceola County. All right, gonna walk back over to my car. That was an easy day. Very easy. I just stepped on a stick. a little anticlimactic in my brain. I feel like this is a little anticlimactic, you know, trying to document this. However, if it had happened, if something had happened and I did get called, there would be no climactic because I wouldn't be able to mention it. So the fact that nothing happened is more climactic than if something did happen, which is usually not how things work, especially these videos. Very confusing, almost like the street. OBT, Emmett, Broadway, what's the other, Main Street, all the same road that this building is located on. As the bus goes by, the Lynx Transportation, for quite a while, many years, back in the mid-90s. Didn't have a car, had a car when I started driving, 1991. Then I didn't have a car for a while. I'd take that Lynx bus all over the place, bringing back some memories. The Kissimmee Connector. This is Link 57. One thing I've always wondered, how do they even know you received this? How do they know this got to one's mailbox? Is it because you call and say, I got it? Because I think they tell you to call when you get this. Or how does that work? How do they know this showed up to your mailbox? How do they know? I guess if you film yourself talking about it, that's one way, Adam. That's going to do it for today. I'll see you in the next video. The vlog from downtown Kissimmee is over. Oh, check it out, right up there in that corner. There it is.